This is Michelle L. Anderson, coming to you live from PodcastDetroit, Royal Oak Studios. We are looking forward to intriguing and entertaining you every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Let me start today's show by saying thank you for joining our family, which is biological by nature, LoveLogical by choice, DNA not required. Well, hello, everyone. This is Michelle, and thank you for joining us tonight. As I always say, today is Tuesday. You know what that means? I have special guests. So I have Scott and Sherry Marion. Did I pronounce it right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because I always make sure I pronounce last names because I can get tongue-tied very easily. So we have Scott and Sherry Marion. And Scott and Sherry are two huge LoveLogical hearts. They're going to share with us today about how they became LoveLogical as a blended family first. And then Scott became LoveLogical grandpa and when they ended up adopting their granddaughters.
Yes.
So 4 granddaughters.
4.
Yes. So our audience welcomes you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
So
we go eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and ain't no mo.
No. No, we have our hands full.
now, how old are the girls?
9, 7, 6, and 5.
Yep.
And they're sisters.
Wow.
They're all sisters.
Yes.
So
That's
entertaining at all times.
I'm quite sure, and probably 4 different personalities too.
Oh, very
absolutely.
much.
Mm-hmm.
Very much.
I could tell from their pictures. It's like 4 totally different personalities.
They have huge personalities.
Yes.
I wonder where they got that from, Grandpa.
They're straight from Sherry. No answers. Their Nana has it all.
Thank you.
I just go to work. No.
No, this is talk about being a blended family. This is my second marriage. My
Okay.
husband's first. With my first marriage, I had 3 kids.
So
2
I married
boys.
into this.
Well, that's a
Yes.
good thing. That's a good thing.
2 boys and a girl.
Okay.
And then when we got married, he has a daughter.
Okay.
And then we were empty nesters for about a year. And
Wow, a whole year, huh?
A
whole
whole
year.
year, yeah.
Whole
we used to
year.
complain how quiet the house was and there was nothing to do. And, you know, we had each other, but, you know, when you're so used to having kids and now there's nothing, it's like, what do you do? But
We literally sat on the couch and looked at each other and went, "My, it's quiet." And I think that God heard us.
And he said, you know what? You need some noise.
It's
I'm
not
going to
quiet
give
no
you
more.
some.
yes.
So just to
Very
ask you, when the 2 of you met, how old were your children?
Good question.
Oh, I saw the look. Challenge.
Amy was,
Oh, it's on. No, I'm kidding.
Amy
Challenge.
was 10.
Yes.
Kenny was 8. No, Kenny was only 7 because Zachary was 3.
Right.
2 just going on 3.
Right.
When we met in July, and Zachary turned 3 in July.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes I don't remember so well. But
Sometimes.
we met at True Green Chemlon. I was doing sales for fertilization, and she was in the phone room setting up the
Okay.
sales for the fertilization. And believe it or not, we went we went out on our first date, and I took her to Matt's place was a comedy club.
Oh, geez. Please don't tell this story.
Well,
I want to hear it.
Apologize now, people.
exactly.
I'm just saying.
Matt's place was a place where young comedians and newly started comedians could go and actually try out new material.
Okay, what city was Matt's
That
place
was in it is Clinton Township, I think.
Okay. Okay.
It was on Grossbeck,
Okay.
and they're closed down now. But and I was doing a skit
Oh, okay.
Not that night. Wasn't supposed to do that that night.
Oh, but he did. Wait, it's coming. Wait for it. Go ahead.
The guys there begged me to get up and do the skit,
Uh-huh.
and it was they were. I can't do that. This is public radio, right?
Yes.
It's a podcast,
Okay,
so we're good.
we're good.
Yeah.
Just funny stuff. It was great, but a lot of this stuff was about my breakup.
Oh.
And here I have my date with me.
The first date as
I think
well.
I went back for the second
I'm-
date. God
It
has
took
a
a
great
couple
sense
weeks
of
before
humor,
we
let
talked
me tell
again.
You. Yeah. Right. It's like, nope.
But all in all, it went really well. I told some of my Canadian jokes, and
For him, it went very
there was
well.
a table. There was a table in front of where she was sitting of 20 Canadians, and they saw me get up from that table, so I felt really bad for her.
They thought I was his ex, and I'm like,
No.
no. I'm like,
So
I hid under the table.
it was a lot of fun, and it was good laughter. And we hit it off from there. We
How many years have you been married?
22
All right.
beautiful years. Beautiful
Yes.
years. We've been through a lot together, and you know what? We always seem to come out on the better side. So, just takes time.
That's beautiful. There's not too many marriages that have been together that long that can say that they've never argued.
Oh no,
They've never had any problems whatsoever.
Yeah, we'd be
Yeah.
lying straight
No.
up.
You go to Hades for that. Not true.
We've had our difficulties, absolutely.
Especially being a step parent, because
Yeah.
I think it's normal for most children who have a step parent that they feel that that step parent is trying to replace the parent,
Yes.
And it's like we explained to, especially our first four, you have one mom, you have one dad. Nobody's going to take that from you ever.
Right.
And, we still say that. And even with our granddaughters, you have a mom, you have a dad. We're Nana and we're Papa. And,
And we never forced her kids. We said, whatever you feel necessary, you can call me Scott. I'm totally fine with that. And the only time they called me Dad is when they wanted something.
That's normal. No.
Just joking.
That's when my kids call me Mom. No, I'm
Right?
just joking.
Right? Otherwise,
walking ATM machine.
Hey, you.
What's your name?
right? I figured we just, put ATM across our forehead and, we're good.
That's what a parent is,
Yes, it is.
That's part of LoveLogical because that step parent, sometimes kids have a hard time with it.
Absolutely.
Sometimes parents have a hard time with it. But then you have those beautiful unions that come together. And my mother used to say nobody was stepping on anybody in her blank house. The D word, not that word. But and
We never heard that one before
Yeah,
either.
so and LoveLogical was born. My LoveLogical grandson asked me, "Grandma, how you my grandma if you're not my mother's mama?"
Wow.
I woke up the very next morning, and LoveLogical was the first thing that came out of my mouth, and we've embraced it ever since.
And family is not always blood.
No, that's what I say. DNA not
mean,
required.
I have the best mother and father-in-law. My mother-in-law has passed, unfortunately, but she never looked at my children as her step grandchildren.
No.
It was always
Our grandkids.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yep. My mother also was probably one of the biggest believers in we're all family. My house, growing up as the youngest boy of four, was always the hangout.
4 boys. Huh?
4 boys, God love her.
I know.
She
And-
had every gray hair to show for it, too. I'm like, they did what? And they're still here?
Especially when they're up on stage doing skits, you know. So you know there was something else growing up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
should have been warning sign number 1. No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
Yes.
and just to say, I'll tell you, my mother was very stern with all us boys, and even the neighborhood kids. They all knew my mother was tough, no matter what.
I was afraid of her at first.
Were you really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was so afraid of her. Oh my goodness. You know, because she seemed so stern, but she was the most wonderful, beautiful person.
Heart of gold.
Yes, very much. And then we would just sit and talk for hours. And then she told me all the stuff that he did growing up after we got married.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, well, why didn't
She
you
knew
tell
not
me
to tell you before.
Exactly.
Cause
She goes, what do you think I
she
am,
knew better than
stupid?
that. She wanted a daughter-in-law.
That's right.
You don't give up that information until
Yeah.
after the fact.
Exactly. She's like, oh,
Yeah.
no, he's all yours now. I'm like, thanks, Mom.
We were literally coming back down the aisle after our marriage, and my mother leaned over and said, "Hey, Sherry, no 90-day exchange, no cash back, nothing.
No
He's
refund.
yours. No
refund.
refunds."
He's all yours,
I
sweetheart.
like that.
I'm like, thanks, Mom. I love you so much. You're welcome. Hit it off ever since.
I like that.
Yes.
Coming back down the aisle and no refunds.
Yeah.
No
That's
90
it.
days. I love it. I love it, love it, love it.
My mouth just dropped. I'm like, okay.
That is amazing.
Yes.
That's so cool.
It is. She was a wonderful lady.
Now, with the kids
Yeah.
blending together in the house growing up,
Yeah.
was that difficult at some point in time, or did the kids get along right away?
You mean our first 4?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Well,
My
they have their differences.
my youngest daughter is special needs.
Okay.
She was born blind, and she really was. They took care of her like nobody's business.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean,
Oh, yeah.
don't
Especially
ask
the
her to do
boys.
anything. We'll do it for her, that kind of thing. And it was really cool. They got along better than we did, so.
It was very hard at first because, you
Yeah.
take everything in life for granted that you can hear, you can see, you can walk, you can do this. And then
Yeah.
when you have a child, because she was only a year old when we met,
A year old?
a year old.
Wow, she's
when
a
she met.
baby,
Yeah, her and
yes.
Zachary are like almost a year apart. And it was very hard at first because we just don't think like, like she has to think because of her not ever seeing.
Right.
And
you know.
yes, while guiding her through different areas, yes, I walked her right into walls. And
By accident. I mean, because
Accidentally.
you're just, and he's like, watch where you're going. I'm like,
whoops.
like you can, there.
We take so much for granted.
Yeah,
You
we
do.
do.
You
and
do.
Then,
And I mean, it's something that we can't help it,
But she was like, "Dad."
but my 3, were very, very protective over her.
Yeah.
It's like you just and each other, so which it was great, and so they learned. They went out and played tag football with her and treated her absolutely normal, except for she needs some guidance, and she became independent that way.
And she was the baby.
Yes,
She was the baby.
of the family.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And she was treated like the baby. She was the princess.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Yeah.
Yeah.
There was stuff there, but I think they all just, they took care.
That's
They
awesome.
took great care of her.
As they would say, we have her back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay.
Right. Nobody got no.
Watch out for their little sister.
That's it.
Now that they're older,
Mm-hmm.
so they're 20, 23, 22.
My oldest is 33.
33, 31,
Mm-hmm.
27, and 26.
Okay. So now that they're older, are they close now?
They yes and no. I mean, we all have our own lives, and we kind of leave home and go on doing our own thing. But when it comes down to it, they're always there for one another.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's always been that way since, they wanted to turn 18 and be on their own. And so, we know we're doing something right if they're out there doing things on their own and they're succeeding. So
That's true.
But they know that all they have to do is pick up the phone, call. We're there. They're there for each other.
So our 33-year-old daughter actually came back to live with us with our oldest granddaughter, who is 10, 11.
11.
She'd kill me for that one.
Yeah, because she's 11. She's not 10 anymore.
Yeah, she's grown.
Just
She's
show
already
me her attitude. Go ahead.
Because
I see it.
Because, look, you already know when it comes to a girl,
Oh.
the day they turn 11, they start planning their 12th birthday.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think she started planning her 21st.
True. She's very...
But I got to tell you, it's been a blessing. They came back to live with us to help us with the 4 girls. Mostly her, because I go to work. No.
Yes.
No.
So you have 5 grandchildren in the house.
In the house, yes.
Yes.
And
all girls.
All girls.
11,
Yeah.
9, 7, 6, and 5.
yeah,
Ooh.
yeah,
It's a
yeah. Papa
handful.
doesn't even, I'm the only male. I got to have humor somewhere.
So there's days that you probably just want to run, don't you?
Yeah, run. No, not want to. Do.
Wait a minute. So you have 5 granddaughters in the house.
Yes.
And you only have 2 pinkies.
Yeah.
I used to always say that, the girls wrap themselves around their grandpa's pinkies.
No, all my
So
fingers.
you're just bound.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes he tries to deny it, but we all know that there's no denying it.
You're just bound.
Oh, yeah.
However,
Yes. They cry to grandpa or they cry to you. What do they call you?
Papa.
Papa. So Papa and Nana.
Yes.
Okay. That's what my granddaughter calls her maternal grandparents, Papa and Nana.
Yep. Yep.
Some people say that it's a Southern thing, and I don't know how true that is, but it's always been Nana since our 11-year-old has been
They
born.
kept trying that paw stuff, and that didn't work. Hey, Pa. No, I'm not Charles Engel. Not down back in the holler anywhere.
That's what I thought of when you said it was
Maybe we need to.
Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah, as loud as our girls
No,
are.
my girls don't do that many
Oh, my
chores.
goodness.
Let me-
Yeah, no. They help, but maybe we need to live in the country as loud as our girls can be because it's
Lord.
quite...
I'm sure our neighbors are like,
No, but it sounds like they have fun and they enjoy each other. So you guys had all that quiet for an entire year.
yeah, that was a short year.
And you prayed. You prayed for some noise.
Oh, we got it.
And you got it. You
Yes.
got noise times 5.
I was just joking. And God's found our sense of humor.
Yeah, he has a great sense of humor.
Oh, yeah.
And
they
we
say-
always used to laugh and say, well, if we would have known grandchildren was this great, we would have had them first. Careful what you say because it does come back to you.
Oh,
but
yeah,
it's okay.
it will bite you.
But it's okay. We were empty nesters for a year. In January of 2015, we were invited to what CPS calls a family team meeting.
Okay.
We're like, okay. So we went, and it was a Monday, and 6 hours later, we had our 4 granddaughters at 6:45 at night. And they're like, okay, well, they didn't have any dinner. The car seats are expired. Here you go. We're like, oh, okay. So that's one reason why my older daughter had moved back home was to help
To help, yes.
the girls. Because at that time, they were 4, 3, 2, 1, and 6 months old.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm like, ah. And then we didn't know that when we took them, that we, of course, I didn't care because they're my grandbabies
Right.
and they're going to stay with me. I'm not going to have it any other way. And then we found out that we were foster care, which I didn't really care about that, And so The plan was that we were to have them for 6 to 9 months. And obviously it lasted a lot longer. And then both parents signed off on their parental rights so that we can adopt the girls. But before that, we were recommended to become licensed foster care. We didn't want to. We kind of hesitated and hem-hawed around about it, and we're like, okay, we'll do it. And now I know why, because it makes it a lot easier
For the adoption. Yes, the adoption process goes a lot easier when you're licensed foster parents. And that's for just about everyone. So that's why you see it's like a foster to adopt nation now. You know, a lot of people are fostering, but it gives you them a chance to get to know the children. You were fortunate that they're your grandchildren.
Yes.
You know, and
But
you
let
know.
me clarify. Easy. Let me clarify. It was
Right.
simpler.
Yes.
It was not easy. It's not an easy process.
Oh no, it's a
because of
long process.
all
It could
the-
take a few years sometimes.
Yes.
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 The 36-page per person biography, and it was overwhelming. We could have wrote a novel faster.
Can you make a movie out of it? So
Yeah.
your biography?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a great idea, Michelle. Don't give him any ideas. No, I'm
I know
joking.
people.
No,
But yes, it was a very strenuous with the paperwork, and here's why: because you have to do all that paperwork on top of building your life in the midst of this. I had no choice. I shouldn't say I had no choice. God led me in a direction of doing real estate.
Okay. So you got your real estate license.
And yes,
Okay.
on top of trying to adopt the children. And it was craziness. The
Were you going to school and studying at the same time?
had to do the schools, had to do the studying. And even after, of course, once you get your license, then you start learning.
And he does not like paperwork, so I mean, it was like, I'm not doing it for you. Don't get it.
I was about to ask you, are you doing the paperwork?
No.
No?
Not with the 4 girls. I don't want to be messing up on someone's mortgage and, wouldn't with my luck. No, it was strictly focusing for me
Yeah.
and
On the
him,
girls.
but with him, someone has to work,
Right.
Who can afford daycare for 4 girls. Plus, I would not put them in a daycare after what they had been through.
Right.
What I was going to go with next was so after you become licensed foster care, you're offered trauma classes.
Okay.
Not when you're, just
Not
foster care.
beforehand.
Yes.
And we feel strongly that anybody and everybody should take the trauma classes beforehand.
I think that parents in general
Yeah.
should take trauma classes.
Oh, absolutely.
Anytime their children or them have incurred any type of trauma.
Yep.
I think they should be open more so for the public.
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
I think that you would have less incidents in the
Absolutely.
homes if
And-
people took the classes.
and understanding of the children of why they act the way that they do, because we had no idea. For Karen Liverman, who is with Macomb County DHS, is the one who did the class. And the first
Retired.
20 minutes of the class described our 4 girls. And we're like bawling our eyes out because we've had our granddaughters for 2.5 years. And you question yourself. I mean, are we doing something wrong? And it just is so educational. So I was speaking with the social worker because I let the social worker know and the teachers know, about what had happened somewhat to a certain degree, to keep in contact with the social worker and the teachers because that's very important. And she had taken trauma classes as well. And then she's going to have the teachers take them as well at the school that our girls go to, and their previous school because we're in the Berkeley School District. And it's very educational. I mean, that was the best class that I had ever taken in my whole entire
Really?
life. Oh, yes. Because
Was it a one-day class or is
Yes.
it okay?
it was, like 6 or 7 hours, and they just go
it's a
through
full day.
everything. Because Karen Liverman had fostered almost 30 children herself. And, she walked the walk, she talked the talk. And that's so very educational and for us or for anyone who has no idea, because it wasn't like we had planned to become licensed foster care. It was because of a situation, unfortunately, that happened in our family that we had to take the girls on an emergency basis. So, it's not like we planned it and we knew ahead of time, okay, this is what we could be, being a licensed foster care for a placement. So it's very, informational to let your teachers know of what happens to these girls and or to your family member. But for us, because there's a lot of people, we've talked through foster care classes that we had gone to that, a lot of family are taking their kids, someone else's kids in.
Mm-hmm.
And they have no idea.
It's common now. Just last week, my co-host Stacy Shannon Johnson, and we went to a restaurant, Mr. Larry's Cafe, and there was a lady who approached, Stacy wanting to know who we were because of how we were dressed. And as we shared, what we do, and as I said, LoveLogical DNA not required, and told her what it is LoveLogical was, to find out that the little boy, well, he's a young man, he's 12, who was sitting with her, had just been placed in her house that morning.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, wow.
And he's a friend of her son's who knocked on her door needing some place to stay, and went through the CPS and everything, and so now he's there. So now she's going through the process
Sure.
of finding a foster agency and all of these things, but he's there, and you could tell that he's very mannerable, and he's happy to be there, and just to hear what you're going through, it makes me think that there's a lot of kids that are not just in foster care,
Oh,
but
no.
just displaced.
Yes.
Yes.
Displaced
Yes.
as well. Yeah.
Structure is everything. And I thank the Lord for this woman every day. She insisted that we have a complete structure in the house. Time is everything. And we have times scheduled.
Okay.
Even in the
good.
summertime when the kids are off, they have 20 minutes of reading, 20 minutes of homework, something, to keep them involved.
My granddaughter's 6. What time you want me to drop her off on Saturday?
Yeah.
Yeah, Papa Daycare. What time?
What time am I leaving?
Now he's got an appointment to go out of town.
I think I'm leaving about that time.
I found
out. I knew
Papa
there was
Daycare.
something. Yeah, Papa Daycare.
Don't steal that. Nobody can steal that.
Instead of Daddy Daycare,
copyrighted
it's
now.
Papa Daycare. We found out because I pushed that 2 of our granddaughters unfortunately has fetal alcohol syndrome.
Okay.
One has the physical disfigurement, not a lot.
Okay.
And then the other one, not so much, but they both have ADHD because it stems from fetal alcohol syndrome, which fetal alcohol syndrome and autism is sometimes basically the same spectrum.
Okay.
And that's why when he said that, we do 20 minutes of homework in the summer, it's because they need that to remember what they learned and to keep it going. And the school had been absolutely wonderful. The first week that we had the girls, we got a hold of the school. They came out the next week. They evaluated the 2 that could go to school, which was the 4-year-old and the 2.5-year-old, soon to be 3. And we got them the help immediately, because the younger that you get them help, the better off they're going to be. And because a lot of people who have fetal alcohol syndrome are not diagnosed, they don't know properly, and a lot of them die by the time they're 33 years old because they've never been diagnosed. They don't know what's wrong with them.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And it's basically because they're suicidal, or they become addicted to drugs, or they become addicted to alcohol.
Yep.
And so we pushed, and the school has just been absolutely phenomenal. They were in the Berkeley School District, and they go to Pattongill, which is close to home, and we've considered moving to get a bigger home to go out into the country, but for more property. But we keep thinking, okay, the school is fantastic. My one granddaughter walks around like she owns the school, and the one who came, Kylene is the one who came to us, and she didn't talk to you, she didn't look at you, and now she's doing the morning announcements, and she is just talking.
She's flourished.
Oh
yes, yes,
so
So
much.
their kindergarten teacher has had all 4 of them. And
okay.
she had Naya too, didn't she?
No.
She didn't have Naya.
No.
Naya's the oldest. But granddaughter, she's 10, 11. She's gonna get me for that.
You should send me her picture. How to put that out there too.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, I should have.
I can do that.
That's all right. Send it to me, and I can at least make a flyer with her on it for the girls.
Awesome.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
because
Yeah.
she's been such a big part.
Yes,
Our
yes.
Granddaughter Naya has been such a big part, and so has their aunt and my aunt Darlene.
The sibling rivalry is
real.
there.
See, it's real, isn't it?
Oh, it is so real. It's
Oh yeah.
oh my God.
If they're, and they started out, that's my cousin and that's my cousin, and I'm looking at them, yeah, you're kind of acting like sisters right about now, pulling hair and the whole 9 yards. Yeah.
But as he was saying,
that's love.
Yes,
That's
know.
love.
they're very
know.
protective
Yes, that's
over
love.
as
Yeah.
much
It
as
is.
they can, get on each other's nerves, but
Right.
they
They
are so
protect each other,
protective
too.
of each other, and
Yeah.
like their aunts and uncles, they're always close and know that they're there no matter what, unconditional love. But the kindergarten teacher had all 4 girls, and she's like, and she has the last one. Right?
Last.
Last, before there is no more. But
So you guys plan on having another child? Is that what you're?
Just a boy or
he
two.
wants 4 boys, and I'm like,
You said
no.
a boy or 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. He said he had a dream that we had 15 kids. I told him it wasn't a dream; it was a nightmare. He goes, "Oh, it's going to happen." I'm like, "Well, were you married to me in this dream? Because
You already got the
15 kids."
license, don't you?
Right.
You got the license.
Right.
Why not use it?
I'm there with it.
The girls are adopted, so you're not using your foster license anymore.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, Michelle. Oh no.
And the business is growing so much that I don't have time to be home anymore. So
No, that's not good though. See,
I'm kidding.
see, you got to put that money aside so
No,
you can
no.
be home
I work
to help
from
take
home,
care of all
so
of them.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
He works
See?
from
I do.
home.
Yeah.
I do. No, you can't. I could not leave this all on my
No,
wife.
no.
a
Having
lot-
your daughter home helps a lot
Yes.
too. That's awesome.
Yeah.
She
Yes.
has been very, very, very much help, and we're trying to help her build her life as well.
She's
That's
doing a
nice.
lot. I mean, my daughter is a
She's a
go-getter.
CNA. She goes to school. She does her job. She's going to school for massage therapy for
Okay.
the
Cranial.
cranial. But the whole massage stuff.
She's doing craniosacral massage.
Yes,
it.
that's
Okay.
it.
Yeah,
So
that's
she at
it.
Irene's.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
She is at
Yes.
Irene's. She
Okay.
loves
I
it.
studied at Irene's in my 20s.
Yeah. She
Oh,
takes care of
fantastic.
A lot of you don't know that. Yes, I studied massage therapy in my 20s.
All right.
You just
That's awesome.
that's a Michelle tidbit of the night.
I like that. When's my appointment?
I haven't practiced in years.
Yeah.
Yes, because as I grew in corporate America, it's kind of like I went this way from my massage career.
So
I used
Irene's
to
been
massage
around
lot
a
of
long time.
I actually
Yes.
studied under Irene,
Yes.
Oh,
the-
wow.
Yeah.
the actual Irene. Yes. So that's who taught me craniosacral was Irene
Yes.
and polarity and everything.
Fantastic.
Yes, she was a little pistol. She
Oh, yeah.
really was. Yes.
I've heard that from
But yeah,
the teachers
like
that
you
told my daughter.
describe your mother-in-law, and that sounds like my mother and Irene.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes.
My daughter has taken care of a brain injury patient for 4 years, and they're like brothers and sisters. And it's just, she loves it, and she just wants to do something more. And she's hoping to get into maybe hospice because my mother-in-law and my dad was in hospice. And so that really touched her heart. And then taking care of her patient that she's taking care of, seeing him in pain, that medication can't touch.
She has a LoveLogical heart too.
Yes, she has a heart of
She
gold.
treats everyone like family.
Oh,
yeah.
she does
Now this
so much.
is like the first time I'm hearing this LoveLogical, and it just so makes sense.
Thank you.
That's so awesome.
Thank you.
I've never
heard of it. And then Kathleen Francais,
Kathleen, of course, of Greening Detroit.
was she posted on Facebook something about knowing one who adopted. I'm like, Kathleen, I'm thinking to myself, you know me. I mean,
She is a personal friend.
Thank you, Kathleen. I didn't know you put it out up there. Thank you so much.
And she's like, can I give her your number? I'm like, absolutely. And so, I had her give you my phone number. And
Kathleen's
we spoke.
been around. Her and I worked together on some things. She's fantastic. You know her very well.
Yeah, she's a wonderful woman.
Yeah.
She
She
really is.
Yeah.
Yes, she is. I don't
She
get to
is.
see her as much being, with the girls, but
We don't let her out much.
Yeah. No,
So if there's any babysitters out there,
Look,
no.
you have a 20-year-old at the house that comes to babysit.
God bless
But,
Kirsten.
Ever so often, if you need a babysitter, I do have an 18-year-old.
oh yeah.
Oh,
I have an
awesome.
18-year-old who's great with kids. Because
I don't know if we could do that to your
you
poor
have to,
daughter.
you have to take Sherry out on dates and for weekend getaways.
Oh, now hang on.
No.
We do.
Listen.
Listen, Linda.
Listen,
Dates and weekend getaways. You gotta give them to her.
Absolutely.
If I can get them, I will.
Yeah.
No doubt.
To be honest, I was so scared to leave the girls. I mean, when they were foster care, we had to have criminal background checks, even on my, my aunt.
Everyone.
Yeah, on everyone. And my Aunt Darlene had been, my mom has been there as well, but she has been my rock. My aunt has been since we've had the girls. And like I said, my daughter Amy, and, but my aunt has her granddaughters, and grandchildren.
We owe a debt of gratitude to
I hear
Darlene.
a huge sleepover at your house while you guys go out of town for a night.
I'm ready.
I hear it. I hear Aunt Darlene. I hear everybody come over and just have a big old sleepover, and you two just
Nancy.
disappear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's
Yeah.
like, I'm trapped in this room.
My parents had 5. Well,
Wow.
I grew up in a blended family. My mother had 4
Oh, yeah.
when her and my dad got married, and then they had me together.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes, and they
Yeah.
would actually go away to a hotel room. I thought it was once a quarter. My sister told me, no, it was every other month.
Let me tell you what happens in that
Yes.
motel room.
I don't need to know. I'm good.
No.
Sleep and more sleep.
Sleep,
Nothing.
sleep, and more sleep.
Oh,
Yeah, let me tell you.
And we don't go that far because we're always afraid to go that far because of, they're a handful.
Yeah.
They have some special needs.
Yeah.
Look,
Not a
20
lot,
minutes
but
away.
Yeah, it's good.
It's away.
Just, yeah.
It is. It's a good.
And we do not give out the room number or phone number.
My mother used to tell us, don't call unless somebody is half dead or bleeding.
That's it.
That's what
That's
we-
my favorite saying.
That's what we were told
I
before
sent 'em
they
out in the
walked out the
backyard.
door.
Yeah.
Don't call unless you're half dead or bleeding. This is our time. And my mother used to always say that husband and wife have to get out of their own bed sometimes.
Amen to
Yeah.
that.
So I grew up hearing that, and people say your mother talked about my mother talked about stuff that you'd be surprised some of the stuff that she talked about.
My mother-in-law.
My mother gave my wife an education.
Okay.
She says I didn't have 4 boys and not know nothing.
Thank you.
And his mom is so opposite of my mom, which my mom, is. She just started swearing, not a whole lot, but,
She just started swearing.
Yeah, she's 77
Literally,
years old.
literally.
She's 77
When I
years old.
first met her, she wouldn't say shit if she had a mouthful. Okay.
But she started at 77.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
no,
Is she making up for lost time?
a little bit, I think.
I'm like, Mom. She's
But-
like, what?
But you know what? I've heard that as people get older, they just don't care.
Right.
They don't care what you think.
Yes.
They don't care what you feel.
Yes.
They have earned the right to be and do whatever the heck they want to do.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm feeling that way at my age sometimes. It's
Yep.
like, you don't like it?
Yep.
Look in the other direction. You'll be all right. You're gonna live through it.
Don't let the door
That's
hit
it.
you where the good Lord
Yeah.
splits you.
Yep.
My mom told me that, and I'm like, wow, Mom. 52 years old. Never heard her say that before. She says, well, you know.
Really?
Yeah. Don't let the door hit you with their good Lord split you.
I think there were days my mother would get upset and she became part sailor. I would probably Marine, Marine, Army, Navy,
Yeah.
Air Force, all of them mixed up together. Too.
One of the
Then
things,
she'd hug you and kiss you and tell
Yes.
you, you know, yeah,
yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
yeah.
My
That's-
dad, now
that's how
that,
it was.
God rest his soul, my dad would be, like you said, the opposite. You know, when you get older, you just don't care. It's
Just
like,
don't
what are they
care.
going to do?
Yeah.
Kick me out? I mean, you know. So she used to get very upset with that.
But see, the two of you got your LoveLogical hearts from your parents, because there's a lot of people who open up their homes, but then there's just as many who don't.
Right. And there's
You know-
so many children in the.
Yes.
There's last I knew over 3,000 here in Michigan that are looking for homes, and
Yeah.
they're begging people to become licensed foster care. And
Yep.
you know, it's like Karen Liverman said at the trauma class. It had just stuck in my mind ever since. Was there is hope for these children?
Mm-hmm.
You know, unconditional
Yeah.
love. You know,
It's our job and our utter responsibility
Mm-hmm.
to help them rewire. And there's no question in my mind. You have to do that with all of God's love and all of the love in your heart.
Yes.
And yes, it's going to be difficult. If it was easy, everybody'd do it.
But look at the reward that you get every time you get that hug, that kiss,
Oh.
that I love you, you're the best, and things like that to make your heart melt right there.
Usually
That's
I
the
have to buy
reward.
that,
Yeah.
but no. I'm joking.
oh, the
I'm
lies
joking.
you tell.
No,
huh?
but I mean, it's just a reward that you get right there.
Yes.
It
You
was the
know?
hardest thing, I can honestly say. It has been the hardest thing I have ever been through in my whole entire life. It's a roller coaster ride.
It is.
When we got the girls for the first month, you know, they told us the first month is going to be hard. Hard was an understatement. And, you know, as the old saying goes, you know, they lived that way, unfortunately, for my oldest granddaughter for 4 years. So, you know, it takes 4 years to walk into the woods. It's going to take 4 years to walk out.
Out
But
of the
just be
woods.
patient and, you know, get them the help that they need, and just know that there's hope for them. Don't give up on them. They don't understand what they're going through. You know,
Yeah.
children weren't asked to be brought into this world,
No.
No.
yet alone to have anything like this happen to any child. But we are lucky enough that we are able to take them, because I would have went down dying trying, because it would have killed me
To not have them.
not have them, for them to be separated. Because let's face it, there's not a lot of people that will take
Four siblings
four
together.
siblings in all
Well,
at
they
once.
told us immediately if somebody from the family doesn't take all four of these, we are going to put them in the system, and they will be split up. They will not see each other.
Yeah.
And, you know, upon hearing that, I was just crushed. You know, we were there for every one of their births,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and it was, I mean,
So it really
felt-
wasn't. It really wasn't a question.
no,
Absolutely
It
not.
really
I
wasn't.
don't
a
even
question.
think we looked at each other other than to say, yeah,
Okay.
Right.
we'll take them.
You know, it was like they made it sound almost like they were like a litter of puppies, you know.
Yeah,
And it's like,
Wow.
it was that cold.
yeah, it was.
To me, it was
And that was Child
cold.
Protective Services.
Yes.
So Child Protective Services, did you hear this tonight? talk to people like the children are human and not give that, because I've heard that before.
Yes.
And
It was-
they should. I think that a lot of the agencies should adopt the concept of LoveLogical and treat the kids as such.
Yes.
I
yes,
really do.
And I gotta
Yes.
say, and just in CPS's defense, they
go
go
through a
through
lot.
it so much.
They go through a lot, but
and they have to at some point shut their feelings out of it and give it to you straight.
yes, but at
But-
the same time,
Yes.
you have to realize that they may have been through a lot, but you're going through it for the first time.
Exactly.
Right, and you
And,
don't
and
know.
we did
Yes.
have a lot of help from the CPS.
Yes.
I cannot
Yes.
say they did anything bad.
You mean from foster care, not
I-
CPS?
Well,
different,
yeah,
you know.
Crystal was very good in it too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, at
But
first.
she had her job to do,
Right.
and I could never do her job.
I bet you guys made it easier for them, though.
I hope so.
It sounds like you're the type to where you did the 36 pages, and you may have fussed while you were doing it, but you did it and probably very thoroughly.
Oh yeah.
As structured as you sound to be.
I told them stuff I didn't
Yeah.
want to tell.
I mean, they're
They
thorough.
probably read it and said, he didn't even have to tell us all this.
Right?
Right.
Let me tell you
We
what.
didn't need to know how old you were when you had your first date.
And then you took her to Matt's place, and they'd be like, "No, this
No.
family's
Yeah.
not acceptable."
Yeah.
No, but it was very it was very cold, and I
It
was like
was.
furious, but I bit my tongue, doing what is good, best for the girls as always, and it was just. And I just wish, and I have asked foster care to please offer the trauma classes whether you are licensed or not, because I feel
the
that
trauma
if they
classes.
offered that, then maybe they would follow through of becoming licensed and keeping the children, because
Yeah.
they don't understand.
So basically, when a child is placed into a home, and that home receives the packet, this packet, so they receive this thick packet to determine if they're going to go through the process. That's probably when they should offer the classes at the same time, because 2 years is a long time.
Absolutely.
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 Yes, 2 years is
And-
a long time.
And it stunned the growth of our grandchildren emotionally, because of we didn't understand. We had never seen anything like this. It literally took us 2.5 years, 2 years, to get them to stop screaming when we put them to bed.
Yes.
Their bedroom was not their safe place. We know of some things that
Yeah.
that happened, and
Right.
it was part of their trauma. I never knew that.
And not
I
only
mean-
that, though, a lot of things are not disclosed, whether you're family or not, when
They
they go
cannot
into
be
the
disclosed.
home, because because it's still going into court, it's still being investigated. So we found out almost everything after we adopted the girl. So now you're talking
3.5
years of why are they doing this and why are they acting out like this, and kind of find out their triggers, and
Yes.
this set it off. It could
Right.
be
But
the
you would
smell
think
of
that
something.
there should be some sort of non-disclosure agreement just to let you know the things that you really need to know with children coming into the home, so that you can react accordingly.
But by
Exactly.
Michigan law, they
Yeah.
cannot.
Yeah.
Right.
Which
The law
I'm a
isn't
big
always
advocate of
Exactly.
helping these laws to change.
Yeah.
If I can, so that we don't have that problem. Emotionally stimulating things for 3 years.
Look, he's ready to change the law. I'm like, here's your card right here, public relations.
Well, you know.
Exactly.
I see an advocate over here.
Well, and let me say this: I love Rockin' Resources. I love what Cheryl and Darren are the presidents. of Rockin' Resources, and you can go on their website. It's rockinresources.com.
Yes, that's where Scott so shamefully just plugged his job after I kind of gave him the hint. But we have to get ready to wrap up. So,
Yes.
Okay.
and I'm sorry because I'm truly loving this conversation. We may have to continue this in 2020 because I love the fact that you're so transparent.
Thank you.
And you should mentor.
Thank you. You know, you're the second person that had said that.
Mentor
True.
people, but I'm saying mentor parents coming into the fostering system to become foster parents. They need mentors as well.
That's exactly what Tracy Neal,
Yes.
the social worker at Pattongill, had said because, you know,
Yes, they need mentors as well. So that's something we need
Oh, I
to
thought
take
those
into
were the little
consideration.
candies, Mentos.
No. You are so funny.
oh, don't encourage him, please.
Oh,
No,
you
kidding.
are. I'm gonna thank you guys for coming out
Thank
tonight.
you.
We have to continue this conversation
Absolutely.
in the
Would
future
love to.
because
Would love to.
this is good, and I truly enjoyed you. That our time went by really fast, didn't it?
It did.
Did.
It did. It did. So everyone, I'm going to plug Rockin' Resources again at rockinresources.com. And Scott is the public relations representative there, and they do heroin and opiate awareness, and they have a big concert every year that they do for that awareness. So those of you out there in the nonprofit world and everything, and you're looking to partner with someone, get a hold of Rockin' Resources and ask for Scott Marin. So that's rockinresources.com. Sherry, we're gonna get you mentoring.
Thank you.
Yes, we're
Would
gonna
love
get you
to.
mentoring.
I would love for her to do that.
And everyone, thank you for listening to us tonight. I know this will be a podcast that you'll listen to over and over and over again. And you could tell that these two, they have the LoveLogical heart, and which is biological by nature, LoveLogical by choice, DNA not required. Thank you very much and have a good evening.